Houston businessman turns furniture stores into Hurricane Harvey shelters. As Hurricane Harvey pounded Houston over the weekend, a local businessman selflessly opened up his 2 furniture stores to families in need of refuge. Jim McIngvale, also known as Mattress Mack, welcomed hundreds of people into his 2 gallery furniture stores on Sunday night after seeing the devastation left by Harvey. He told NPR, "When the hurricane first hit down here, I thought this was going to be a one-day event. Then I came into work the next day and I saw the devastation of the entire area and decided it would be best if we opened this 100,000 square foot furniture store as a shelter." He also sent his furniture gallery trucks out into the flood to look for any people in need of a lift. Mattress Mack now has about 400 people in his 2 stores, where he's serving them 3 square meals a day. Mack thinks it'll run around $30,000 to $40,000 to keep the stores going through the relief effort. He told CBS, "We can afford that, and what we can't afford is to cause people to lose hope. We gotta give them hope. That's what my parents would have done. We tip our hat to you, Mack, and also send our prayers to the people of Houston." When it rains, it pours. How fire ants survive floods. People in and around the floodwaters from areas hit by Hurricane Harvey in Houston have begun to see colonies of floating fire ant rafts. To escape the rising water, fire ants quickly link together to form a raft. They lock their legs and bodies together tightly enough to trap air in the raft. The ants at the bottom are linked so closely together that no water can get through. The queen and the larvae are kept on top of the structure. The raft changes shape as it floats, with ants moving across the top and joining the stationary layer on the bottom. Fire ants can live in these structures for weeks or longer as they search for dry land. How animals are surviving Hurricane Harvey. As Hurricane Harvey dumped water all over Texas, humans weren't the only ones looking for relief. Animals of all shapes and sizes were caught in the downpour and had to be rescued along with everybody else. The rich animals were the lucky ones, because they were able to get out before the rain hit. Blue-collared friends like Harvey the Hawk wasn't as fortunate. Heavy rains forced Harvey to hail a cab rather than take to the skies. Guess Harvey isn't a big Uber or Lyft fan. Gators have also been trying to escape all the wetness. Many have been seen hanging out in the burbs. And of course, man's best friend and our favorite feline companions were stuck just like everyone else. Oh, heartbreaking. We're talking about that poor cat stuck in the back, not the old grandmas, although they're okay too. And it wasn't only the big animals looking for a helping hand during Tropical Storm Harvey. Insects were in on the action as well. Stay dry out there, folks. Flood survivor snaps at CNN reporter. A CNN reporter received a serious dressing down when a Houston flood survivor snapped and launched into a live on-air rant.
First date, yeah, that's a lot of but y'all sit here, y'all trying to interview people during their worst times. Like, that's not the smartest thing to do. Like, people are really breaking down and y'all sitting here with cameras and microphones trying to ask us what the wrong with us.
I'm so
and you really trying to understand with the microphone still in my face, with me shivering cold, with my kids wet, and you still putting a microphone in my face.
The mother and her family are just some of the thousands of people displaced by Hurricane Harvey and the subsequent flooding in Texas. The woman just couldn't believe it when CNN shoved cameras and microphones in the faces of survivors as they sought refuge from the storm. But we'd say there's a fine line here. However shocking or uncomfortable, journalists have a job to do. It's just that some of them lack sensitivity to the needs of others, absorbed in their own ambition and desire to get the story. Fault doesn't just rest with the reporter, however. She has an editor to report to, and would be out of a job the moment she stopped shoving that microphone into survivors' faces. Her bosses, too, have superiors to answer to, and on it goes. We need to see the bigger picture here. The suffering of the survivors, that visceral, voyeuristic connection viewer has to victim, is what we expect to see when we turn on the news. In other words, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? Hurricane Harvey couldn't keep this dog down. As Hurricane Harvey swept through the state, a lost dog in Texas showed it takes more than a raging storm to beat it. Before Hurricane Harvey's landfall Friday night, Sinton resident Salvador Segovia left his grandson's German Shepherd mix Otis in his screened-in back porch. When Segovia went back to check on Otis later, he was gone. Segovia checked his porch the next day and noticed Otis's bag of dog food was missing. Segovia went looking for the dog and was told by a neighbor they saw Otis strolling around with a bag of dog food in his mouth. Fortunately, Segovia was able to track down the dog's whereabouts and bring him home before his grandson returned. A neighbor who saw Otis thought he was a stray and took a snap of him strolling around with the dog food and uploaded it to Facebook, where the image went viral. According to Segovia, Otis is loved by the folks in Sinton, and he's been helpful to Segovia's 5-year-old grandson, who often goes to the hospital for seizures and asthma.